Hi. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Elizabeth Hudetz, Al for short. I'm going to share a song with you I wrote. My son was going through chemo. He was 31 at the time. And I noticed, he looked like Buddha. And he shared with me that he was Buddhist. And he helped me write this song. He wrote the third verse. One thing he said that I want to share with you, he said, I feel like when I die, I'm going to be a droplet of water that dives into the ocean and disperses to become part of everything. So here's to you, Hollis. It's called My Buddha. Ba-do-da-dwee-da. Buddha's working overtime, caught me dancing on the moon. Don't know what I thought I'd find, but I see now I'm blind. Buddha's working overtime. My karma kicked me in the pants. I didn't hardly stand a chance. See, so far I have to climb to the place that is sublime. Buddha's working overtime. Buddha, Buddha, di-da, Buddha, di-da-da. When my soul begins to climb, enlightenment is on the line. Though I don't always read the signs, Namaste's got me feeling fine. Buddha's working overtime. Buddha, Buddha, dee, dum, doo, da, da. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, I just very quickly want to make a couple of announcements. One, we're doing a books, bikes, and school supplies drive for the Wounded Knee Native Americans who need school supplies for their children to set up their school and help them get by in a proper way so they can get their lessons in. And we have a list of all the things that are needed on this particular flyer. You'll see these flyers in the lobby. And those of you that are just watching in on screen, if you want to call in sometime this week between Tuesday and Friday, you can get, from our secretary, we'll give you some idea about the school supplies they're looking to get. But it's books and bikes and school supplies. Okay, thank you very much for that. And now we have the opportunity to thank someone who is really worthy of thanks, someone who has been our band leader for 25 years, choir leader, 25 years, Larry Morrison. Stand up, Larry. Right. Bravo.
Bravo. Right. In every style of music you can possibly imagine. This guy can play anything. And
That's
he picks
right.
up like that. He's amazing. He's a Capricorn, and his birthday's the same day as mine. We're
All
not
right.
the same age, but it's the same day as mine.
Okay. All right, so I'll be back in a minute. Let's have our special music. Good.
Good morning. Today, let us pray with hope. As always, in prayer, we first breathe, relax, and let go. In this moment, let go of concerns and worries, just like leaves in the wind. Father, Mother, God, thank you for the power of hope. Not as something that we do have or don't have, but hope as something that we choose. When the world seems dark, we hold a vision of light. We can say, I am the light of the world. Feel that. I am the light of the world. We can say, my world is lit with love. Feel that now. My world is lit with love. And we can say, Spirit shows me the way. And we can listen for that. When we do not know what to do, we can turn to Spirit. We can say, divine order runs my life. Feel this. Divine order runs my life. We can say, divine order rules the world. See this. Divine order rules the world. Divine order is always present. Rest in this. Divine order is always present. Father, Mother, God, thank you. Thank you today for the power of hope, the power of knowing that we are never alone, that we are always blessed, the power of knowing that we participate in the plan of Spirit by actively choosing hope. Thank you, Spirit, for all your infinite blessings. And to this we say, Amen.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to take a quick moment to introduce our guest today. It's first time performing with us? Yes, the first time here. So we're going to welcome Elizabeth Hudetz, L for short. She's been writing and playing music since she was 20 at Dante's Down the Hatch in underground Atlanta. She's had the pleasure of opening for groups such as Hot Tuna, Leon Russell, and guitar virtuoso Leo Kotke as a soloist. And she sang backup in a Colorado rhythm and blues show band after the fire for 7 years before getting a music degree at Colorado State University. These days, she's a retired music teacher and enjoys playing with her new husband, Al Hager, who is a lifelong musician. and she's been having a lot of fun playing bass in his band Parking Lot. So please give a nice warm welcome to El Hudetz. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Here's the song. Al was supposed to be here today, but he's sick, so I'm winging it here. Not really. This is a song by Janice Stanfield, and yeah, it's called If I Were Brave. What would I do if I knew I could not fail? If I believed would the wind always fill up my sail? How far would I go? What could I achieve? Trusting the hero in me. If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where fools and dreamers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What if we're all meant to do what we secretly dream? What would you ask if you knew you could have anything? Like a mighty oak sleeps in the heart of a seed, are there miracles in you and me? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would you do today if you were brave? What would we do today if we were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? If I refuse to listen to the voice of fear, would the voice of courage whisper in my ear, my ear? If I were brave, I'd walk the razor's edge, where true believers dare to tread, and never lose faith, even when losing my way. What step would I take today if I were brave? What would I do today if I were brave? What would you do today I'd run for mayor. If I were brave, I'd come in second and I wouldn't care. If I were brave, what would I do today? If I were brave, what would you do today? If you were brave. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth Hudetz, sharing that beautiful jazz music. Wonderful variety of stuff, and watch our band just pick it up and do it beautifully. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm not Cintisha. Cintisha's out today taking some R&R. Her son is having a birthday, and so I'm filling in for her today. This is Super Bowl Sunday, and I suspect that most of our congregation are already 4 beers into the pregame hoopla. So probably nobody out there. I don't know why you're here. I hope this message is meaningful for you, okay? I think it will be. The COVID-19 pandemic has impacted everyone's life throughout the world, and seemingly in only a negative fashion. However, there is one positive element that comes with the restrictions created by COVID-19, and that is people are given more time for introspection and meditation. And I think quite a few people are taking advantage of that. And also, because of the pandemic and the limited conditions of our lives under those situations, people may be looking for a way to open up and feel happiness again, joy. Cintisha was doing a series on happiness, and I think I'm following that. But so I'll be sharing some thoughts I think will help us into that state of divine awareness. Now, this whole idea of introspection and meditation is about opening the mind or awakening the mind to its true nature, in its true relationship to this greater intelligence, which is God. And so that awakening is what unity is all about. When we speak about this awakening, we should be aware of the fact that it is exponentially growing worldwide. More and more people are getting in touch with spiritual practices that are opening their consciousness to a more expanded way of being alive, a more expanded way of meaning life on every level. You could say, in short, the awakening that we're talking about is waking up from the dream of ego-centered awareness to universal awareness. We are waking up from that dream in which we were born and raised and educated, because the very foundation of that identification, the very foundation of that definition is flawed, and it is, it's set to bring only more difficulties and conflict into our experiences. We are called, because of life itself, to transcend the initial stage of thinking in which we were born, raised, and educated, which is based upon the foundation that is based upon the illusion of separation. So if you don't get anything else out of this talk, you should know that in Unity, we're always dealing with personal transformation, which leads to a life truly worth living. Because once we make this transformation out of that initial limited definition of life, we enter into an alignment with the greater intelligence. The intelligence we refer to as being omnipresent. That means it's everywhere present all the time. What we're dealing with here is that from our illusionary concept of living, we are not present in the awareness that is divine. We have to awaken from this dream or this illusionary state. It doesn't remove us physically from the world. It removes us from the limited thinking of the world. The limited thinking that has brought us, guilt and fear, consternation, war, and even disease. So we need to awaken from that thought system. And that's what we're doing in Unity all the time. And Eckhart Tolle speaks to this universal transformation in this way. Can we have this first PowerPoint? In his great book, A New Earth, Eckhart Tolle has this to say: only the first awakening, the first glimpse of consciousness without thought, happens by grace, without any doing on your part. Once you have had a glimpse of awareness or presence, you know it firsthand. It is no longer just a concept in your mind. You can then make a conscious choice to be present rather than to indulge in useless thinking. You can invite presence into your life. That is, make space. So to say, make space. With the grace of awakening comes responsibility. You can either try to go on as if nothing has happened, or you can see its significance and recognize the arising of awareness as the most important thing that can happen to you. Opening yourself to the emerging consciousness and bringing its light into this world then becomes the primary purpose of your life. As he clearly reveals in his book, A New Earth, he reveals that at some point in every human life, there should come an opening to this higher level of awareness. There should come the beginning glimpse of the awakened state of consciousness, which then casts us to be in the world, but not of the world, to operate in the world, but to operate from a higher perspective, to operate mostly from the intuitive or insightful that moves from the divine omnipresent consciousness we call God, and not from the intellectual thinking that we have always attempted to rely upon to figure out how to get by in life in a harmonious, meaningful, successful way. The human intellect falls far short of being able to reveal to us the insights we need to live effectively, beautifully, joyfully, harmoniously, healthfully, wisely. The intellect just cannot do it. And I think it's built into life that at some point human beings should recognize that we do not have the ability to figure it out. That's why Tolle refers to useless thinking, which is what the mind is so often involved in, just forever thinking and spinning and trying to figure out what went wrong, how can I improve it, how can I fix it, I feel bad about it. Now what are we going to do about the future? I've got to make that work out better. And so I'm concerned about trying to fix the future, and I'm never really awake. And I'm not capable of sharing the miracle of being alive in the moment. Do you realize the masters live in the moment? They recognize the miracle of every moment. They live in the joy peace of the consciousness of God that recognizes the majesty and the beauty in every moment. And they have no need to be concerned about what the future may bring. Because if you're in God consciousness, you are being led, guided in every single moment, aside from your thinking process and your intellect. You still use your thinking process in a way for details and stuff, setting up your grocery list, making your plans for this or plans for that. But once you have entered into the enlightened state of awareness or the awakened consciousness, then you know yourself to be divine in origin and also divine in expression. Most people will kind of accept the fact we're divine in origin, made in the image and likeness of God, but they are not yet open to be divine in expression because they're not coming from God consciousness, they're coming from ego-centered fear, concern, worry, illusion, all generated by the illusion of separation. There's me, and there's all that's not me. I have to be real careful about how I conduct my life because anything can happen. So I've got to make plans. I've got to create and buy a lot of insurance. I have to get every special thing I need to protect myself from this consternation of world that has no regard for what I need. Do you want to drop that? Do you want to transcend that thinking? It's the only way you're going to find happiness. The only way you're going to find peace. And every human being should eventually come to the reality, the realization that we don't have the faculty to figure life out. With all the technology and all that the computers can provide, it just draws us more and more into this illusion of separation from everything that exists. There's nothing wrong with computers and using them for, this basic truths that we need to work with. But let me say this, it's never going to replace what you really need, which is this transformation into divine consciousness. Opening one's awareness to this emerging consciousness has to do with the desire for it. There's hardly anything else needed. That we desire this enough to be willing to take to task the blocks we have within us to joy, peace. I use joy, peace because that's what mystical peace is. Mystical peace is a peace that surpasses the understanding of the thinking of the world. Because people could look at your life and see what you're doing and what you're going through and say, well, how can that person sustain that level of awareness and peace and joy? It's because that person is in God consciousness, if that's the case. So mystical peace is not peace that's fleeting. It's not peace that momentarily you got your own way or momentarily your expectations were met or momentarily, you got something done that you needed to get done. It's not that. Mystical peace is being in the consciousness divine, and it is not contingent upon circumstances. There's an illusionary surface level of New Age thinking that supposes that enlightenment or awakening has to do with getting to the place where you use your mind to make the world meet your personal expectations, your desires, your demands. That's not mastery. That's going to play out. That's going to fail. There's no way you can make the world continually serve your personal desires, demands, expectations. What is mastery is to be in the divine awareness that is not caught up in the thinking of the world. It means you're no longer tossed this way and that way by every changing tide of circumstances. Circumstances defining you. If they're going according to your desires, you're okay. But if they're not, you're downhearted and depressed and angry. So that's what mastery is, transcending that and entering into a state of consciousness that operates in the world but not of the world. It's not operating from what circumstances are presenting. It's operating from divine insight, love, peace, the healing awareness of the masters of life. And that's where we want to go. So this mystical peace that accomplishes the fear-free now awareness, mystical peace that accompanies the fear-free now awareness that Eckhart Tolle speaks about, is not contingent on circumstances. So you can release that whole idea that you're going to actually get to a place where you have mind over matter. That's not mastery. But let me give an illustration. I'm going to give you a story, a true story, that Norma has cautioned me never to use. She cautioned me, because I gave it once, and she was really, said it really doesn't show you in a good light. And so I will share this story with you anyway, only because I have run out of other illustrations. It happened on Christmas week. Norma and I were trapped in traffic in Denver. We had gone to Denver to pick up some necessary technical lighting equipment that we needed for the Christmas Eve production, and we were scheduled to be back in Boulder at 6 p.m. for the final crucial rehearsal of the Boulder production, of our production of the Christmas show. And I guess an oil truck, this is what we found out later, had a terrible accident on the highway 70, and it stopped traffic everywhere. Cars were bumper to bumper, side by side, and it came over the radio that that traffic was going to be stopped for quite a while they straightened out and cleaned up the highway. Anyway, there's Norm and I sitting in this car, and it's already, 5 o'clock in the evening, and we have to be back at 6, and we're not going to get back to Boulder at all to do this critical rehearsal for the show that we gave 2.5 months of our lives to getting on. I mean, working with all these people and this whole production and everything, and it needed this last rehearsal. It's not going to happen. So I'm sitting there, and I'm beginning to lose a little bit of my spiritual peace. There's, I can't imagine that while we had spent all this time, effort, to put this show together, which reveals the Christ being born, is really a mystical way of looking at Christ awakening in your own mind. And the show was all about that. And I'm wondering, and I'm saying to Norma, how can God be so disrespectful of this show? After all we've done to get it together, and now it traps us here, and we can't do anything about it. And so it's, in a sense, God is destroying the show. So Norma's beginning to recognize that it's just not a loss of my peace. I'm really beginning to lose it big time, because she notices, and she always does this. She can notice when that's happening that the blood vessels are bulging in my face. And when that happens, what she usually does is what she did. She didn't answer my question about why does God do things like this. She just knew that she had to do something right away. So she reached into the glove compartment and took out our bottle of Southern Comfort and 4 prescription tranquilizers. But it was too late. I had already jumped out of the car, and I was shouting to God in the sky, and I've done this on rare occasions. This was one of them. Challenging God to come down in a body and have a fist fight with me. Because, you know, God does all this stuff. I mean, God is really the best off because God was born God. The rest of us have to work toward it. So God has all the power, and, you know, and it just bothers me that he does. So I'm shouting at God at the sky, challenging to come down in the fist fight. Norma is right at the window, shouting to me, saying, Jack, don't do this. He's all powerful. Don't do this. He's all powerful. Like I don't know he's all powerful. That's why I wanted to come down in the body and make it like an even match. So just as this is happening, and I'm looking up at the sky, a formation of 40 ducks, about 40 ducks, fly overhead and decide to release their lunch on me and the car. And so I guess there was something to the fact that God is all powerful. He's not going to take on a body. He's going to get you in a different way. Anyway, to make a long story short about the situation that took place, and you should understand, that took place a long time ago. I wasn't as fully enlightened as I am now. That took place several weeks ago in December. So I'm glad Norma's not here to hear me giving that story again. Anyway, the truth of it is, we really did. We did get stuck in traffic on a Christmas week, and we had a crucial rehearsal to get to, and the traffic was stopped, was going to be stopped for a couple of hours, and Norma had the radio on. I was steaming, all right? I was steaming about it, because it was just seemed incongruous, you know, impossible that we wind up in this situation during that period of time. But what took place really was fortuitous. It was something so interesting that I'm railing at the situation, and Norma's there taking it in. And this song comes on the radio. I want you to listen to it. Alexa, play The Drifters Up on the Roof.
Here's Up on the Roof by The Drifters on Amazon Music.
When this whole world starts getting me down and people are just too much for me to face, I climb way up to the top of the stair and all my cares just drift right into space.
Stop the music. Thank you. What is related in that song is everything we need to know about transcending the limitations, consternation, conflicts that are forever going on in the life of the world. And they come our way enough for us to be able to see that we have to do something to hold our level of happiness, joy, peace. It's saying that when life becomes too much for me to take, I go up to the roof and, I get away from all of that rat race noise down in the street. And what it's really referring to is finding that quiet place that we know is meditation. If we don't have a daily practice of meditation, we're not likely to be able to catch ourselves when we're beginning to fall into the illusion big time. In other words, part of what is necessary for a truly spiritual student seeking to transcend the illusions that deny us a happiness that was actually gifted to us by our Creator. What we need to do is be able to catch ourselves whenever we are beginning to have negative thoughts and negative feelings and negative emotions. If we can't pause, check yourself out on this. If you're coming to a spiritual center or to a church, what are you coming for? What are you looking for? You're looking to find your way into the kingdom of God, which actually turns out to be the consciousness of God. I know a lot of people still think it may happen at the end of your body life. When you drop your body, you'll go on to some heaven where everything will really be pleasant, peaceful, beautiful, harmonious, and free of all fear and concern. That's not going to happen, because even if you went to heaven, you'd still have to learn how to live in heaven without being a pain in everybody's rear end. So why don't you learn it now, is what I'm talking about. Right now, we have the opportunity to practice the presence of God, which is all that Eckhart Tolle is talking about. And if we don't have a practice that includes introspection and meditation, it's not likely we're going to prevail. Because the thinking of the world is really something that takes us away from that peace that is the divine presence of God. The thinking of the world is fraught with conflict. Everything you see in the media is all about conflict, and attempting to handle it with the human intellect can't be done. We have to learn how to stop. Whenever we're feeling negative thoughts, or thinking negative thoughts, or feeling negative emotions, we have to be able to stop. You can check yourself out. If you can't do that, all right, you're not ready for it. You're just not ready for it. So if you can stop and pause and decide, I'd rather have this peace, this joy peace. So I'm not going to react. I'm going to allow this refined awareness just to rise. And I might be guided to say something or do something, but it won't be anything that will create more conflict. It won't be anything damning. It won't be anything that creates more fear. It'll be something that is truly appropriate, and it'll come from the wisdom of this intelligence we know to be God. So speaking about this awakening, Eckhart Tolle has this to say. You can read this in his book, Stillness Speaks, on page 42. Do you treat this moment as if it were an obstacle to be overcome? Do you feel you have a future moment to get to that is more important? Almost everyone lives like this most of the time, since the future never arrives except as the present. It is a dysfunctional way to live. It generates a constant undercurrent of unease, tension, and discontent. It does not honor life, which is now and never not now. Can we take that back again, please? Do you treat this moment, can you catch yourself treating a moment as if it were an obstacle to be overcome? I shouldn't be having to deal with this. I have to get on. There's something, I've got to get something more, something better, something new. Do you feel you have a future moment to get to that is more important? Almost everyone lives like this most of the time, since the future never arrives, except as the present. It is a dysfunctional way to live. It generates a constant undercurrent of unease, tension, and discontent. It does not honor life, which is now and never not now. So I'm going to share this final thought with you. We learn to pause whenever negative thoughts and emotions rise within us. We awake in the here and now, and we say okay to the moment. We say yes to it, and we allow it, and we flow with it. And here's Eckhart Tolle's final statement on the truth of joy, peace, the destiny of everybody willing to take to task the illusions that block them from being here, now, awake. When you know who you truly are, there is an abiding, alive sense of peace. You could call it joy, because that's what joy is. Vibrantly alive peace. It is the joy of knowing yourself as the very life essence before life takes on form. That is the joy of being who you truly are. So there's the truth. When you know who you truly are, there is an abiding, alive sense of peace. You could call it joy, because that's what joy is. Vibrantly alive peace. It is the joy of knowing yourself as the very life essence before life takes on form. That is the joy of being who you truly are, which is one with God, or the divine. So we're going to take a few moments for meditation. I'm going to invite Norman to come out. I'm going to invite Norma to come out. Okay, all right, good. Just take a couple of deep breaths and rest in the awareness of the present. Everything I look upon, everything I see is one with God and one with me. Only believe. Love heals. Therefore, I live to learn to bestow peace. I live to learn to bestow compassion. I live to learn to bestow unconditional love. Because love heals. Only believe. Love heals. Thus, as I seek to bestow peace, I receive peace. as I seek to bestow compassion, I receive compassion. As I seek to bestow kindness and love, I receive kindness and love, because love heals. Only believe.
Love heals. Love, pure love heals.
Everything I look upon, everything I see, is one with God and one with me, worthy of peace, compassion, kindness, and love. Only believe. Love heals. Love heals. As we go forth from this meditation, let us go forth with a great opening in our awareness to practice the presence and practice the holy pause and become emissaries of divine light and love. To this, we say thank you and amen. We will take an offering for unity now, and we do it in our fashion now that we have, the limitations from the pandemic, which is we bring to mind what financial gift we'd like to give to Unity of Boulder so that we can continue the work that goes on here 7 days a week, actually. You can tithe to Unity of Boulder in any way that you see up on the screen. And so I ask you to make a donation to Unity so that we can continue the spiritual work that we do in the service of God. And those of you that are sitting here, if you'd like to, we do have a basket in the lobby, and we have some dip jars so you can dip your credit card to make a donation that way. But everyone together now, let's just bring to mind what financial gift we'd like to give to Unity of Boulder, and let's bless it with this affirmative prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Amen.
Oh, hi. This song goes out to all of you and all of our friends near and far. And we truly couldn't get by without you. That was joining me. Lucky me.
Lucky me.
Get by with a little try with a little help from my friends. Do you need anybody? I need somebody to love. Could it be anybody? I want somebody to love.
Would you believe in a love at first sight?
Yes, I'm certain that it happens all the time.
What do you see when you turn out the lights?
I can't tell you, but I know it's mine. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Yeah, I get high with a little help from my friends.
Yeah,
Gonna try with a little help from my friends. Do you need anybody? I need somebody to love. Could it be anybody? I just want somebody to love. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I get high with a little help from my friends. Yes, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. I get by with a little help from my friends. With a little help from my friends. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
And Elizabeth Hudetz, she's really great. We appreciate having this guest performer with us today. The band was fabulous again, backing these people up, coming right in. Terrific work, terrific. Thank you very much. We're going to have our closing benediction. Okay, let's strike it up.
I release
Please.
and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I
Release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife.
With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit.
Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Right. We have prayer partners right here. If there's a specific challenge you want to pray about and you'd like to pray with one of our prayer partners, just remain seated. As everyone files out, our prayer partners will come to you and we'll take you down to our meditation room or share a prayer with you right here. So, have a beautiful Super Bowl Sunday. Okay.